So good afternoon. On the show today, we have a very special person called Bolaji Bolu-David. She's an ESL teacher. That means teaching English as a second language. She's also popularly known for her Instagram handle called Say It Right with Bolaji, where she corrects us on our pronunciation of English words. She has over 70,000 followers, so she's definitely an authority on how to speak properly. So Bolaji, you are very welcome to the show today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, great. So just to give you a background, what I usually do is to interview people doing what they love for a living, because I've noticed that most people are working, but not working passionately because they are not able to take the luxury of working in a place or doing something that they actually love, probably because maybe it doesn't pay enough. Very few people have the opportunity to actually work at what they love. So when I find people that have found a way to build their passion and begin to derive some sort of income or revenue from it, it excites me, like you. So maybe we should start by you giving us a bit of a background to what you studied, what makes you an authority in correcting people's grammar and English, So let's start with that.
Okay, thank you so much, Mrs. Bumi, for having me here. I'm so thankful. It is such a privilege to talk about my passion and what I love. So okay, where do I start from? Let me go back to studying English. So I studied English in Obafemi Awolowo University. Of course, it was a choice. I chose English, not because I was well informed, but because I just wanted something that was different from the norm. Because everybody in art class, everybody's like, oh, I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a lawyer. But I was like, okay, I think I want to choose a different path for myself. So I did that and I studied English. So studying English for 4 years. And after that, I went to serve in Ilorin, Kwara State. And it was a fun time. I was an English teacher in school, of course. For most people who serve, you get to teach in a school or something. And then, of course, I think from my university days, I already knew that I had so much passion for imparting knowledge. I really wanted to impact so many people. I had days of group discussions, upon group discussions. It's a thing in OAU. I mean, everybody always has one group discussion or one
That's
thing
my
like
alma
that.
mater.
One meeting. Amazing, beautiful. And I mean, it was so much fun teaching my course mates and then being in a classroom for the first time, because I studied English language, not English in education. And being in a classroom for the first time with eager students and everybody looking at me like, okay, so teacher or auntie, you're the one here and we are here to learn from you. And sincerely, it was fun. I know that that 1 year of teaching in a classroom was really beautiful. Seeing these children, I think I thought JSS 1 to SS 3, I think. And it's been a while. I can't even remember fully anymore. But then, okay, now that I'm thinking about it, okay, I think it was SS1 to 3, SS1 to 3, SS1, yes, not JSS, SS1 to 3. And it was really a fun time. I had students in a terminal class and they really were preparing for an examination, WAEC, NECO, and I had to prepare them. And English is, of course, one very important subject for, students in those terminal classes. And it was important that I had to, give my best to ensure that my students exceptionally well, which made me really glad. And now, I mean, looking back and seeing that, okay, this is actually what would be a career path for me. I never thought that it would go this way, but I'm glad that I'm here now. Thank you.
For someone so young to actually choose English language as a subject to major on is highly rare. Most people that I know that studied
Right.
English language as a graduate course probably did it because maybe they didn't get law or they didn't get some other subject, but not that they actually wanted to study the language from the onset,
Yes,
So
yes.
that's
Right,
really good.
right.
So, but was there anything that indicated to you that you wanted to major in a language? Did you enjoy speaking or watching people, or did you have an inkling? Did you when you listen to people, did you or did do you notice the error and want to correct it or want to improve people's ability to speak? Was that sort of what guided you into majoring in English language when you were going to school, or was something different?
Okay, great question. I remember when I was in JSS 1, I had the opportunity to join a club that was called Sage Right. So it was Sage Right Club. I joined Sage Right Club. I was learning so many things about English, pronunciation, grammar, and all of that. And of course, I was the youngest member of, in the group or in the club. And I had this opportunity to always present before the school, and we had over 2,000 students on the assembly. We called it parade ground. I attended Command Akpata at that point in time, and it was such a great place for me to be exposed to a lot of knowledge, and sincerely it was really worth my while. So joining Sage Right Club, I learned so many things. I learned pronunciation, I learned grammar, as I said already. And at that point in time, so one of the things that we would normally do, you want to go around the school listening for what people say in that sense, so that when we come on the parade ground, we can present something that is relatable to the students. So,
Yeah.
for instance, a lot of students would say this in class, maybe someone hitting the table, bah, 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 stop making noise, stop making noise. And then, okay, so we were like, okay, we have to correct that. So we would go to the parade ground and we would say, do not say stop making noise, simply say stop making a noise. So you have to add that article a before noise. And it was so much fun. So we were like the grammar police, we were like the pronunciation checkers. We are out to get your pronunciation. Every wrong pronunciation is going to be publicly declared on the assembly. And sincerely, as I said, it was fun. So really, but I never thought that it could be a career path that I would eventually choose, in future. But at that point, it sparked, that light or that desire and passion in me that, okay, I think I really like English. So yes, I also liked Yoruba, which are English and Yoruba. They are the two languages that I'm, really familiar with. At the time, I used to say that I can speak Korean. I used to say I can speak Korean, but not anymore because I've not watched any Korean movie in such a long time. So, but really, I have I'm very enthusiastic about languages
In
generally,
general.
but English is just that one language that keeps me curious. Like there's always one new thing to learn every day, even as a teacher, even as in quote an authority. And it's really been a wonderful journey, really.
Right. So after leaving university and leaving finishing your NYC, do you still teach full time as in the school, or do you teach people one on one?
Okay, after my service year, I left Ilorin, I came back to Ibadan. So I wanted to, I think I went to about two schools or even three schools, tried to get an employment, which I did. But for some reason, I wasn't feeling as challenged as I wanted. It wasn't challenging. Not because the kids were not, they were smart, they were beautiful and all of that, but on my own part, it did not feel like it was challenging enough. And at that point, I was like, okay, so I think I'm going to have to leave this realm for you guys and to go find something else for myself. So I remembered leaving the second school after working for a week. I worked for a week
No, but you know
I
that,
left the
that's
school.
really good to find out early enough that you're not enjoying something and leave it to pursue what you really love, because most people don't have the courage to do that. They stick with it even though they're not happy, you know. So to be able to do that, I think is a skill.
Oh my God, it was scary, really, it was. But then I think I also had my parents backing. So my parents really were supportive. And I mean, I was back in my parents' house and I was starting to, at that point, it was about my proofreading and editing business.
Yeah.
So of course, over the years, I had been getting proofreading jobs. I started proofreading in 2014. So I had already had the skill and I honed it like all through my university days.
Yeah.
And now that I was done, I was like, okay, so we do not have so many Nigerians, claiming to be proofreaders.
Proofreaders,
So I
yeah.
was like, okay. And I think proofreading is actually a very needed or required
Skill. Yeah.
skill for a lot of people. I mean, we have writers, we have Nigerian writers. So why should we even have publishers? So why not have editors and proofreaders
Yeah.
who can actually also stand alone, maybe freelance or do something? Because most people that actually maybe proofread or edit in maybe an organization, it's usually because, oh, it is part of their job description.
Yeah.
Maybe the person is a clerk or the person just has a role and they're like, oh, yes, editing this would be part of your work. But editing is much more than that. It is, I mean, it is a great skill.
Yeah.
It is a skill that is acquired over time. And having, acquired the skill, I was scared, really. I was really apprehensive about what was going to be, because I was like, am I sure that this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now? But I was like, okay. And my dad and my mom, they were also like, yes, don't worry, just stay. God will provide a good job for you. Don't worry. But even my parents did not know that. We never knew. My parents, myself, we never knew that it was actually going to turn out this way. So I just started, I called a friend of mine, a graphics designer. I told him, okay, so help me design, something for my business. I'm launching, I want to launch, I'm a proofreader, I'm an editor. If you have a book, you have a text, you want it to be refined, you want it to be polished, reach out to me and I will do justice to it. Of course, which I still do. I'm not just an ESL instructor. I still edit and I proofread books, texts, written texts as well. And then staying back at home, I would have to stay for months without getting any proofreading job. It was really difficult. I mean, I had to sit and, just trust that, okay, a job would come in soon. Someone would reach out saying, oh, Ellie's, that is the name of my business.
Yeah.
Ellie's, we want to proofread this document. We would like to edit this. We would like to edit that. And really, as I said, it was a scary time, but I was just resolute that this is what I was going to do. And along the way, that was when, State Rabbi Bolaji came, really, like as a business idea, Yes. So
So,
thank you.
so that's really interesting, you know. And it's interesting that someone so young would have the fortitude to endure long enough to make her passion her livelihood, you know. And I know that you've already alluded to it, that it wasn't easy, you know, but we would not have been blessed with you on our timelines on Instagram now if you hadn't endured so long.
Thank
So
you.
we're grateful for you.
Thank,
So
thank you.
how did
Appreciate it.
how did you start with the videos on the words you correct, as in what were the first few words that you thought were important that you correct for people in general?
Can I remember? Let me see. Oh, yes, I remember. One of my very first set of videos was Wednesday. Wednesday. You don't say Wednesday, say Wednesday. So I can remember so clearly. And then making my videos, of course, my videos were not always, the way they are right now. In fact, I was, Instagram brings a sort of throwback for you from last year. So 2 days ago, I saw a video that I made last year, and I was like, are you serious? Was that me? So really, it's been I've really progressed, really, really, really. And then I did not have right now I still use my phone to record and edit as well. But at that point in time, I was using a techno phone, and I would record. I did not have a ring light. I did not have a tripod. I did not have anything. I would stack my books on the table. It was actually during the lockdown that I started. I wasn't teaching my students physically anymore. I was at home, and I was still at my PPA. So I just decided that, oh, why not start making videos, since I've always had this idea. I spoke to a friend, I spoke to my mentor, and they were like, yes, why not do it? We're going to follow you. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. So we're going to support you all the way. And I just decided that, okay, I would make these videos. And I stacked the books. I placed my phone on the books, and I started making videos. So one interesting thing about everything that happened in the space of 2 days, I was able to shoot at least 200 videos.
Wow.
So there were some I deleted immediately. But one funny thing that happened was that I could not post any of the 200 videos because I wasn't looking at the camera. It was really heartbreaking, but I was like, no, you cannot, this content is not excellent enough. I've always been so conscious, like, oh yes, it has to be excellent. Whatever is going out, it may not be perfect, but it should be clear. The message has to be clear. It has to be simple enough so that anybody who comes in contact with it, they're like, okay, this girl, this lady may not have so much yet, but we would like to hear her more. And I was really glad that I just deleted all those videos, and then I started making more videos. I relied on natural lighting, my phone. What application was I using then to edit my videos? I cannot even remember, but it was one, I think Phone Director or something Director. I had so many of them on my phone. Some of them would say, oh, you have to pay for premium. And I was like, I don't got no money for any premium. And it was still fun anyways. It was still fun. I would move the video from one app to another to use the free features in each video app. So if this app allows me to edit for free, maybe to add my text, I do it, I move it into another app, I do whatever I need to do. And it's been fun, really. It has.
No, but you say something interesting though, as in sometimes we stop ourselves from starting what we want because we're waiting for perfection or the right time or to have it all together. But sometimes it's better to just start. It's better to start even if it's not perfect. The perfection
Absolutely
will catch up with us as we start, because actually it's in the starting that you become perfect. You can't perfect what you haven't started at all. So it's in the practice, right. It's in the consistency that you actually become good at something. I'm sure we will look back at this interview, maybe when you're rich and famous, and say, wow.
Right, absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's
fun. It's great. It's great that you're doing this. And it's also interesting that the market for public speaking is one might say saturated. One might say many markets are saturated, but you've managed to find a niche in the public speaking market, which is not very common. As in, I don't think I've stumbled on any Nigerian person that specifically teaches how to pronounce words correctly. As in, I see people on YouTube, as in maybe Caucasians, doing what you're doing, but not a Nigerian, so it's interesting. It means that nobody has an excuse, no matter what field you're in, no matter how saturated it might seem to be. It means that you can always find a niche. You just need to look out for what it is in the space that you're in that nobody else is doing. And it's great that you found this niche and that you're doing so well in it. So I wanted to ask you a question. So
I'm
the
glad.
words that you teach us to correct properly are the mistakes that you see specific to Nigerians, or there are mistakes that many people make?
Interesting. Ha. Okay. How do I answer that question? Really, most of my content is actually directed to or designed for Nigerians, mainly for Nigerians. I mean, I'm a Nigerian, and I as much as I'm a global citizen, which is one other thing that actually influences my content, I prefer to actually, help a fellow Nigerian. Really, I mean, Say It Right with Bolaji is really about, targeting Nigerians to help them, correct all these mispronunciations, incorrect grammar and all of that. So really, it's tailored towards Nigerians, tailor made for them. But then, of course, I have so many followers who are not Nigerians. I have Indians, and it would surprise you to know that even some Indians actually make the same kind of mistake that we make,
Yeah.
even Ghanaians as well. And that is because we are fellow non-native speakers. Yes. So my content is mainly for Nigerians, as I was saying. But of course, even people who are not Nigerians also benefit a lot from my content. So I guess I can say that I'm a global citizen and anybody can really benefit from my content.
Okay, that's great. So could you
Regardless of where they are from. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And so I was looking at your milestones. I noticed you celebrated when you were 5K, when you had 5,000 followers, you celebrated when you had 10,000, you celebrated when you had 20, and on and on and on. So who are your followers? Are they your students or people that just saw you on Instagram, liked you, and then started following?
Okay. My students are part of my followers, but most of them were actually not my students to start with. They were actually followers. So I believe that my followers are people that found me on Instagram, or let me say on a friend status on WhatsApp or on Facebook. So
I noticed that you celebrated each of your milestones when you had 5,000 followers, you celebrated 10,000, 20, 50, but your growth was quite quick, so can you attribute your quick growth to anything in particular? I interviewed some people before you that were also content creators that grew pretty quickly, but their growth was during COVID, and COVID gave a very great advantage to content creators back then because most of us were at home and we were idle sometimes. So we watched our Instagram pages a lot more than we do now. So can you attribute your success to Instagram, or it was basically something that happened organically?
okay, yes, I have to say that it actually happened organically. So many of my followers came in, due to the content. They saw the content, they liked the content, and then they started following, which was actually unbelievable for me at the time. And maybe even till now, because I'm like 70,000 people. That is actually a lot of people. I started my page in 2020. That was during the COVID-19 lockdown. But it was already my personal page. It wasn't Say It Right with Bolaji at that time. And I had about 700 plus followers, maybe 714 or something. And I just thought about it that, oh, I needed a platform. I wanted to teach people. I wanted to, impart knowledge, which is always, it has always been my thing. My friends know me. If you need any you need any knowledge at all, just go meet Bolaji and you'll be fine. So I decided that okay, I have an Instagram page. I wanted to start on YouTube, but I don't know, I was quite scared because I'm like, I don't even have any subscribers. But then I saw my Instagram, and before time I didn't really have any interest in Instagram. But just seeing that I had 700 plus people that I could actually impart on that platform, I decided that, okay, let me just start using my Instagram, and whatever comes out of it, we may move to YouTube later. And then I decided to start. So I started making videos in 2020. So that was April 2020. So April 2020, 2021, 2022. So as of January 2022, I had 1.3K followers. So it was just a bit above 1,003 followers. I did not have 1.5. I didn't have 1,500 followers. I didn't have 2K followers. And I actually started putting out my content since 2020. So I don't know, for me, maybe it was because then I just started putting out content. So I did not have the visibility that I would have needed to actually, grow as a page or as, a content creator. So in 2022, January, as I said, I had 1.3K followers. February, there was really no difference. March, even till June, like June, I think as of June, I had to write it down. As of June, the ending of June, I had about 3,000 followers. So it was growing. I mean, it was growing since January to June. That was like 6 months. And I had only been able to gain like 2K extra followers. And
That's not small though. 2,000
April,
followers in 6 months is not small though. But
it is yeah, actually, I would say that it is not much, because if I want to compare the fact that I started from 700 plus and I had to grow to 1,000 plus in January. So that means I gained probably how many followers in like 2 years? I did not gain so much. I gained maybe just 600-ish, like 300 to fill the 1,000. So 600 followers in like over a year. And then gaining, so actually I agree with what you're saying, or what you just said about the fact that 2,000 was actually not, a small feat. But at the same time, thinking about it now, thinking about, how exceptional the growth has been, or how, great it has been over the months from that time in April, May, June, from June, August. Everything actually changed in August. Like in August, June to August, I was still, struggling between 3K followers, 4K followers. As of August 30th, I had 4,900 and something followers. So I was really close to 5K, and I was really eager, like, come on, yes, we're doing it. People are listening. And, some of my videos had already started having views in thousands, even 10,000. So I was like, oh, great. So that means people are actually, seeing what we're doing, people who like what we're doing, and people were actually following, people were interacting, they were engaging in the comments and all of that. People were reaching out to me in the DM saying, oh, you do such great work. Did you study in Nigeria? And I'm like, of course I did. But then, it was fun, because really, I never thought that it would actually, bloom that well, and that people would actually receive my content that way. And maybe not just receive my content, receive me as a person, because I think that is really one it's a very, very important thing for a content creator. We want to be received by people. And if the the majority of people do not receive you, then really there will be no growth. So they love the content, and then they started following. So really, I think I would just attribute everything to the content and acceptance. People accepting content. Of course, I had so many people saying, oh, I made 2 videos where I addressed Nigerians. I was like, Nigerians be like this, that. Nigerians be like assume when they're supposed to say assume. And I had people in the comments, I had people actually insult me in the comments. So people really people really, really insulted me. At the point, I had to turn off commenting on the post. And reached out to me, and she was like, oh, that she wanted to read the comments, but she could not. That did I turn off the comments? So yes, people were really insulting me. But then I was having lots of followers. Like in maybe an hour, I would have like 100 followers coming. Even now, I do not have that amount of followers coming like at once anymore. Maybe now, if I want to gain like 100 followers, it could take me maybe a week, because as you gain followers, you lose followers.
Yeah.
That is the thing. People come and people go. So you have to just keep creating enough content for more people. It's nothing personal, but they will
Yeah.
come and go. That is, I mean, as traumatic as it could be to feel like, oh my God, I already gained so number of followers. I think in the space of a couple of months, I've lost, at least it is visible now, I've lost about 200 followers visible. But behind the scene, I've actually lost more than that number. I've lost thousands of followers, 2,000 followers, 3,000 followers in the space of January to now. But because I keep gaining more followers to replace, the ones that I have or that left. So it's actually an interesting journey, and followership and gaining, creating more content because you feel like, oh, this content is going to bring in these followers. And many times we actually never plan virality. You do not plan it. You're just like, okay, I just made the video and I posted it. I never thought it was going to go that far or anything. It had over 400,000 views, and then I had another video that had that same number, 400,000, over 400,000. I mean, it's still mind-blowing right now, but
The
it is what it is.
400,000, the 400,000, it's views you're referring to, right?
Yes, views.
Okay.
Views.
Okay. So you've said so much. So I'm going to list the questions that I have based on what you said, and I'll repeat them if you don't remember what I said. But you've said that you've made me wonder now, because I noticed the same thing, that if you post something controversial, you tend to get followership on Instagram. Like there was a post that I made, and I started by saying, I know this is controversial. That's how I started. But I was talking about something to do with finance and why I think borrowing is better than saving money. So it's not what people normally expect to hear. And I had more viewing than I had on any of my other posts because it was controversial. So
yeah,
I think that's a hack or a hook that people can use to gain attention at the very start. Yeah.
Yes.
So the other thing that that you said that was interesting was the fact that you lose and gain followership. And I think for content creators, it can be if that's what you're watching out for, it can be emotionally draining to post content and maybe not get viewership, or to see the number of followers that you have decrease. So how do you handle the emotional trauma? Should I call it trauma? It's not that serious, but it could be serious depending on your kind of temperament. So but how do you handle
Yes,
the ups and downs of being a content creator?
okay, so I would say that maybe trauma is actually the best word to use for it, because I mean it's like maybe no, don't let me use it that way. Don't let me. I wanted to give an analogy, but I don't think it's that deep. Okay, just as you said, but losing followers and gaining followers. Okay, so there was a time, as of the time that I was gaining so much, following, that I was getting so many people, like in a day I could get up to 500 followers. I, from the numbers that I did and everything, from my screenshots every now and then, I saw that I moved from like 54,000 followers to 57 in 5 days. I moved from 52 to 54 in 2 days. And I mean, that's like 2,000 followers in 2 days. 2 days. I don't know whether it was a weekend. I don't know whether it was, I really don't know. But then I know that there were, there must have been content on my page that was actually, drawing people in. But even during those times, I was losing followers. Like I would always check my insight. I want to see, okay, so what is going on here? how many followers have we gained this week? How many followers have we gained? And Instagram even shows you all of that. So you can see the followers you gained in the past 7 days, in the past 14 days, 30 days. And I could see that. As I was gaining, let's say I was gaining 2,000 followers, I was losing, let's say 400 followers. Or I was gaining 1.5, I was losing maybe 50 followers. So something like that. I was gaining, I was losing, I was gaining, I was losing.
Yeah.
But then the beautiful thing about gaining and losing is that if your content is reaching more people, then there is a likelihood that you would be getting more following, and it would cover, and not just cover, it would be more than enough. So for those who leave, there is enough numbers to actually cover. All right. But even right now, I don't have that much, maybe I've not been creating content as much as I was last year. No, I really cannot say that. I cannot say that. But I guess there is always a timing to things. There's always, I don't know, there's favor. There are so many things there are so many factors that are involved. But I would say that personally, I would not say, oh, just forget it. It's not, it's just numbers. Of course, it is just numbers, but it can be very difficult as well, because you would feel like, oh, I put my work into this.
Yeah.
So why are these people coming and going? Because really, many times we feel like the following that we get is like the reward for, the the free content that we create.
Yeah.
So it feels like, oh, if they're coming and going, does that mean maybe my content is now devaluing, or maybe they just don't like me anymore, or maybe I'm not doing something right? Of course, there are times that even the algorithm is what is, favoring you. Yeah. I don't know how that happens, but there are so many people creating great content. And I would say the other time you said that you think I'm probably the only Nigerian that you've seen around. I'm telling you, there are lots of us. There are many of us. I have so many of them. I follow some of them. I think I follow about four. Yes, about four. And there are so many others that I do not even follow. We've never had any contact or anything like that. But I see their content. I like. If I can share, I do as well. So, but then it's not all of them that have the numbers that I gained. But then there are some other people, actually Nigerians like myself, who even have hundreds of thousands of followers.
Yeah.
In this same niche. All right. In this same niche. And there are times when that comparison can come in and you're like, what is this person doing better than me? Like, why is this person doing better? I have more videos. My videos are crisp. My content is sweet. My content is entertaining, because one of the things that you learn as a content creator is you want your content to be entertaining. You want it to be engaging. You also want it to be educative. And once you feel like, oh, I've ticked these 3 boxes, you feel like, oh, that means I should actually get at least 1 or 2 people or 10 people or 100 people follow me back for more content, because they can see what I do. But many times it just doesn't go the way we want it. And I've seen so many creators actually constantly complain on Instagram. They would maybe meet up in one comment section and everybody's pouring out their hearts about how Instagram is tiring. It's not a safe place to grow. The competition is really tight, and it can drain you emotionally. I think I would say really my husband is one person that helps me to get over, the emotional trauma in quote now. So there are times, in the past 2-3 days, I had to tell him, I was like, my followers this number is decreasing. I just went from 0.4 to 0.3. What is happening? And the fear is always that what if this continues? What's going to happen? So that's usually the fear. It's not even about the number you're losing right now. It's about, you're thinking about the worst case scenario. Like, what is going to happen if I keep losing followers like this? So I think one thing I do to help myself is just keep creating content. Because the goal should not be, oh, following, I want to grow, I want to grow, I want to grow. So that, you know, when you don't grow or when you lose growth in that sense, you do not still stop. You will not stop, because it has never, or it was never about even the numbers to start with.
Yeah.
So, I mean, creating free content, sitting down, and you have to record. You record, you make a video, you take out time to edit, or you even pay someone to edit. Nobody on Instagram comes into your DM to say, wow, this content is so great, can we pay for it? Nobody says, oh, I want to sponsor it. And of course, you're not doing it because, oh, you want to get the money from them. Of course, you may have a business side to what you're doing, that you're hoping that, oh, I am able to bring in clients, but you know, the free content first, and you have to make it as excellent as possible. So if it goes out and you do not get the kind of response that you expect, you're not going to stop because, oh, I'm not getting the response. Just keep doing it and trust, and just trust that eventually things will start, you know, blooming, and things will start growing. I mean, looking at myself creating content over a year, and I did not have any growth. I had at least 2 years creating content constantly, and I just went from about 700 to how many followers in 2 years? From April to April, I went from 700 plus to about 3,000. No, it was 1,000. So I went from 700 plus to like 1,300, and eventually it's started to bloom and grow exponentially in a way that I never thought. And many of my followers in the comments would say, we knew this would happen, you deserve it, you deserve it, you deserve it. So I mean, I had so many people that had been in my DM before that saying that, Bolaji, don't worry, one day you blow, the world will hear your voice, like, don't worry, these followers, don't, just forget about it. So I don't know. I had so much support system, even from people I had never met before. I think, as I said the other time, acceptance is really important. So when people get to see you and they love what you do, you'd see people in your DM encouraging you from God knows where. And you're just like, who knows? Like, what? I don't even know you. But then you just spoken to my soul. You've just uplifted me in a way that I never thought a stranger would. So I think one thing we can always do, encourage ourselves. If you need a friend or maybe a therapist to help you sincerely, whatever you need to do to just ensure that the passion that you have does not die because of followership, or growth and all of that. I think it is important that we do whatever it is we need to do to ensure that we stay on top of our game, because the content will remain there. Of course, if Instagram has not packed up and all the other, platforms are still there, you would still always get people that will come to your page and they want to look through your content. They visit your profile and they're able to go through all your content and they're like, wow, this person is really doing such a great job. So I think it's just to have that never give up spirit and just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, and just trust and hope that. And of course, I still have to say that you need to do research, whatever it is, to see what exactly is happening. I think that is one thing I am doing at the moment right now. I'm like, okay, trying to evaluate what exactly is happening on my page that is not making me reach as many people as I used to. I mean, for me to grow that much, my page was, people were about, let me see, I wrote the number, over 800,000 people, over 800,000 accounts. Let me use accounts because that's a more significant term to Instagram. So over 800,000 accounts were seeing my content, like my content reached, that was my reach at the point where I got to 65K followers, 70K followers. Yep. So imagine me reaching almost 1 million people. Of course, I would get that number of following. But right now, I'm reaching just about the same number of followers that I have. I'm reaching 73K accounts. So I'm telling myself now that if I want to start getting the same results I got then, that means I need to improve my reach as well. I need to not triple, not quadruple, not, I mean, I have to go, a very, very long way to go back to go from where I am to where I really want to be. So doing the research that is needed and, just learning all the skills that I need and, even what we're doing right now, having people that are growing share what they've learned over time that has helped them to grow. Because as much as we have people that can say, this is, I really do not know why I grew, there are still some people who can tell that, this is what I did, this is what I did, this is what I did. So content was responsible for the growth. So I think it is important.
Okay.
That we just do whatever we need to do to keep
Okay.
going.
So if I understand what you're saying, you can't attribute your growth to a particular video or a particular set of videos. It was just the consistency in posting for a long period of time. Is that a correct summary?
Not really, not exactly. Of course, as I said the other time, I have about 2 videos that reached over 400K people. So imagine reaching 400K people in like 2 videos. Of course, the accounts would there may be people who saw both videos. So we may have that double reach, but or impression. I think that's what Instagram calls it. But at the end of the day, it means I actually reached more people than usual. And I believe that is where the growth came from. After that, there was another video. The first video that actually did well was one video where I was playing a game with my friends. I've forgotten what the game is right now. Gibberish, something gibberish. Say the gibberish or guess the gibberish. So we got, I don't know how that video got about 124,000 views. I don't know till today, but it had a filter and a lot of people were actually using that filter on Instagram. So I think that's another thing. Filters help people to, get or even music, audio. And that's one of the reasons why audio is now a big thing on Instagram, on TikTok, and all, those social media platforms. So those videos are actually, I can actually attribute that to them, but not just them. So there are so many other videos that did well after that. And I believe that I really cannot say, so number of followers came in from this post. For instance, Reels now, you can, even if you check your insights, you cannot see the number of followers that came in from a particular Reel, but you can see that from maybe pictures or any other carousel. Yeah, you can see it from all of those as well. But it was not just one post or 2 posts, it was a lot of posts actually. But those 2 posts actually really stood out.
Okay. So another interesting thing, even though it's over time that you create viewing and followership, do you think you've gotten better at it? And what do you think are some of the hacks that you use to create a better viewing? As in, you said you researched, you've tried to see what made some videos more liked than the others. So do you have any tips, as in things that you think you did that helped the video be more interesting than the others, maybe?
Okay, yes. I just said something about audio. Instagram, all these audios that you can add to your sound, background music that you can add to your videos. And sometimes, of course, we know videos to catch people's attention or to maybe, because even now people actually can just scroll up your reels and not watch or even like or even comment or even follow. So as you said, you need a hook, and of course pronunciation. There are so many people, I know that there are people that actually watch my videos, not because the kind of niche that I'm in, the kind of content. And I think there are so many content creators that would say, oh, when you want to start your video, say something, just say something that can, hold people down, or just hold their attention for a minute, or of course the video even lasts for a minute and 30 seconds. So I think when I started, then I would say, how do you say this word? That's the first thing you'd hear when I start my video. So that for me was a hook for a long time. I don't even do it anymore these days, but I think I will start again. So I would say, how do you say this word? And of course, I know even if it were me and I saw a video like that, I would want to say, yeah, I say, assume now, it's not assume. And there's a way that can actually, hold people's attention to watch the video and be like, okay, and she delivered educating content, so maybe I could follow. So those hooks, background music that can be interesting or relatable or interactive, because there are so many people that actually use a lot of background music that contrasts the content in the video. Like the videos that I said, the two videos that I said gained over 400 views, or had over 400 views. I used what's the name of that sound? Primal Fear. Primal Fear. So there's this sound like that, and I used it. It had this kind of effect on the video. But before that time, I had been making videos where I was doing the same thing. In fact, there was a time when I started using memes in my videos, sound effects, like all these pop sound effects, just to make the content more interesting. Because I remember that there was a time that my brother-in-law was saying, Bolaji, nobody is going to watch your video. It's too boring. We know you're trying to teach us, but it's boring. And I was like, don't worry. You see, but I don't worry. When you gain enough followers, we'll start watching your videos. And it was like, you need to be able to hold people's attention, because a lot of people do not have that much of an attention span right now. So I was like, okay, so I would use memes, I would use, these sound effects, all of that, and just to ensure that I spice up. Yes, it did. I think I noticed the very first video that I used a sound effect in, or that I even used all these memes, I just put them in some strategic places. And that video had 3K views compared to all my other videos that were having like 1K views, 1.5, but that one had 3K, and I was like, come on now. So I started using the memes, I started using the sound effects, and of course another video had like 5K views. So everything really was it was a build up. So it was growing. Now I did not, okay, but before now, in fact, the video that went viral, or the videos that went viral, one of them I did not use any sound effects. I just thought it was simple. It was a simple, in fact, till today, it still shocks me that video went viral, because I'm like, okay. But the other one, I had a background music that was enticing. So it would hook you. It would like, and then I actually said, Nigerians be like. So what you said about controversy is very important, really. Of course, it's not every time. You don't want to go about, being controversial all the time, but maybe once in a while, and you can be controversial and people will still not watch the video. So
it's a myriad of things. Yeah, I get you.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So let me ask you, since Instagram isn't paying now for the number of followers or views that you have, how do you monetize the followership that you have? And I can't remember, but you don't teach in a school anymore, right? So how do you monetize? How do you make a living off this?
Okay, so I still edit and proofread, as I said, but really most of my income comes from my classes right now. I
One-on-one
teach online. You said?
Are they one-on-one classes or a group of people?
Yes, live classes, just like this one we're having right now, except that in that class, I would be the teacher and, the other person would be the student. So that's really how I've come to monetize my skills. And really, I never thought I would get to that point. I never saw Sage Right with Bolaji as a business, but along the line, when I started growing, I think my first client was came into my DM when I had about maybe 3K followers or so. And then another one came in. Oh, I didn't have up to 3K. I think I had like 2K followers or even less. But then, the person came and then another person came and then people started coming to my DMs, coming into my DMs.
So
So
how
I
many people do you
decided,
teach?
oh, yeah, let's put out a flyer so that people can see that, oh, these are the services that we offer.
Right.
So I put that out and more people started coming. So I mean, after this meeting, I have another class. So
So
yes.
how many students do you have that you're actively teaching altogether now?
At the moment, okay, so after my wedding, I've actually just started, getting more students. So before my wedding, I had students on ground. I had maybe like 15 students that I was teaching,
Yeah.
simultaneously like that. But at the moment, maybe seven. But I'm still, of course, looking to have more
More.
and more students in class. And also, I think one thing I need to do is actually train more people so that I can have people, tutor
Yeah.
alongside, because days when I would really not be available. But many of my, even when I've tried referring people or recommending other coaches to my clients, they're like, no, Bolaji, it's you we want. But then, I mean, so I'm like, okay, so what's going to happen when I need to, really get other people to tutor when I cannot be in every
Place
class
at
at
all the
time?
time. When you're not good.
Exactly.
No, but you said an
Right.
interesting thing, because in the end, what helps people to grow wealth is systems. If you are the only one in the business and the business can't survive without you, then they say that you are still an employee, or you are still self-employed. You're not a
Right.
business person yet, because the business can't
Yeah.
live
Yeah.
without you. So I think the trick will be to
Yeah.
find the right kind of person that can do the same thing as
Right.
you can. I think if you find the right kind of
Mhm.
person, you will then be able to scale a little more, you know. We're rounding up.
Yes.
So I,
True.
I have I have two more questions for you. So how much, for the sake of people that are listening, how much do your services cost in case they want to hire you? Or how do they get in touch with you? And then what kind of content do you teach on the one-on-one, in the one-on-one classes?
Okay, let me start with the kind of courses that we have. So we have several courses. There is the diction course, which I would call the best seller. So everybody really wants to get better. They want to improve their pronunciation, enunciation. I do not take public speaking classes,
Okay.
but of course, I can help you improve your diction so that your pronunciation is, on point. So that is one of the things that in fact, it's one of my most interesting courses. We also have the grammar course. So there's grammar. If you want to better, or you want to improve your grammar, sentence structures, you want to be able to construct sentences using the right verbs at the right places, the right article, learning, all the parts of speech, things we thought, we left behind before now. I mean, we have so many people who are struggling with them right now because they're like, okay, I'm in a business, I'm in my workplace, and really I cannot construct sentences as I
Properly.
thought I would be able to. So we have a course, tailored to that, or that meets that what's the word now,
Need.
need, that meets that need. Yeah. So the other course, we have our writing course, but the writing course presently is it needs an upgrade. So at the moment, it's unavailable. Which other courses there? There's verbs and tenses, mini
Okay.
courses. So if you want to better your Concord use, you want to understand subject verb agreement, you want to be able to use the right verbs where you should, and all of that. So now about there are still many other courses. About the price for the course or the pricing, now it depends on the course. There are several, of course, I already mentioned a couple of courses. There are still course plans for each course. So the diction course, for instance, has like 3 course plans. There is the basic, there is a silver, and then there is a platinum. Oh, yes. So if you want either one or all, of course, the platinum is the best plan. You get to go through the course, and it's usually a very thorough process. But you could also have the basic plan, and you would learn the things that you need to just start out. So it depends on the course plan. So if anybody's interested, you can always reach out to me or reach out to us in the DM. So Say Right with Bolaji is available on Instagram. There's also Say Right with Bolaji Backup. So it's a backup page. You would always get a response there. There's also WhatsApp. The WhatsApp link is in the bio. So you can always reach out. Yes.
It has been a pleasure talking with you, and I'm so happy that we got to do this. And we're looking out for your audio book. I remember you said something about doing an audio book where you pronounce words, you know. So we're looking out for that when it comes out, you know. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.